Hi, you guys. Welcome to the weekly bump. Thank you so much for being here. There's some two very contradictory but simultaneous energies floating around that I'm feeling very, very aware of over the past couple days. The first is same as last week. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, there's a great deal of change going on in a lot of people's lives. We had the earthquake and volcano in Hawaii, and my heart really goes out to them. I think astrologers were expecting something, but the problem is you can never know exactly where it's going to be. We have the Uranus moving into an earth sign from a fire sign, so we have the combination of fire and earth, and unfortunately it was affecting people and pushing them out of their homes. And my heart definitely goes out to them as someone that doesn't intrinsically understand what that's like. I know a lot of people, especially in California, who have been dealing with wildfires the past several years. You guys might know what that's like. There's that energy. And then there's the energy that's the calm before the storm. And it's like eerily quiet, but there's a change in density in the air. And there seems to be this ready to pounce energy, but it's not directed toward anything specific. It's just sitting there laying in the grass waiting to happen. And I think a lot of us can feel, the hair on the back of our necks kind of standing up and saying, okay, well, what's going to happen? And it doesn't even need to be a big thing. It could be something small, insignificant to the rest of the world, but significant to us in our own little world, and yet there's this drive to continue forward. We have Mars coming into a difficult aspect with Uranus over the next few days. It's going to be squaring Uranus. And there's excitement, there's pursuit of visionary grandeur. I think a lot of people, especially in my age group, because we have this Uranus-Neptune, so our natal Neptunes are aspecting transiting Uranus, and our natal Uranus is aspecting transiting Neptune right now. And so there's this, how do we make the world a better place for people in my age group? And then I think it's Neptune that's also aspecting Chiron as well. And, or is it Uranus that's aspecting Chiron? It's one of the two. I forget my own personal transits, but there's this sense of, how do we make this world a better place? What do we need to do? What needs to happen? And I think a lot of people in my age, but a lot of just everyone, is really starting to feel the weight of the world on their shoulders, really starting to feel the burden of the system, right? Because Uranus is a huge planet. It represents the global culture. It represents the global structures and global revolution. And so a lot of people are starting to look around and be like, this isn't right. This isn't good. This isn't healthy for human beings, and the mask of the illusion is starting to come off, and we're starting to see a lot more. And with Pluto in Capricorn, it makes sense that the occult has really taken hold. There's been this massive shift toward the occult I've even seen it just in the past several years with all the number of astrologers and tarot card readers that have popped up on YouTube over the past 3 years. It's a huge shift, and hundreds of thousands of people are now starting to really pay attention to the energies above, and people are telling their friends about it, and those people are telling their friends about it, and that kind of shift is a huge mass of people seeking truth. And all the documentaries that have been out for, 10, 20 years, uncovering the secrets of the Fed, uncovering the secrets of the corruption in politics, and that's all the Pluto and Capricorn type of stuff. And now that we have Uranus making a change, making this big shift, we're starting to, and it's a shift into an earth sign, right? So it's the money, structure, everyday life, that kind of thing, that kind of concept that's coming online. And I think people are starting to get really, really tired. We've seen a lot of protests lately. We've seen a lot of destruction lately. And at some point, hopefully, it gets to a point where the masses are like, enough, enough. And so if that's happening on a global scale or just in your own little world, that change is coming. A change is happening, and it's really happening right before our eyes. And with Mars coming square of Uranus, that can be really aggressive. That can be really potent, and it's for the pursuit of something better, for the pursuit of a vision. It's not purposeless. It's not random aggression because we're mad and it has our ego at play. No, it's because we are wanting to liberate. And liberation is a common word. I use the word liberation. I use the word power a lot. I use the word growth and expansion and all of that a lot. But these are words that I think that there's really no substitute for them. And this liberation quality of Uranus is, like I said, it's coming online. And then we have Mars entering into Aquarius next week. I mean, it's Uranus Aquarius stuff all over the place. And when you really start to look at the high level qualities and not to look at, oh, this is type of Aquarius personality and this is why they do certain things, but why we as a global collective do certain things on a global scale because of these Aquarius and these Capricorns and these Sagittarius themes, or, all the signs, you start to see the big picture. And with Jupiter in aspect with the sun right now, Venus in aspect with Jupiter, there is this open-mindedness, this huge kind of blank canvas, and this huge question of what if, what if, and what would happen if, and I think that optimism on an individual scale with little business ideas and, stock tips and all of that, that's troublesome. But because it's too small, right? It's not looking at the big picture. It's not a holistic view. But when you take that optimism and enthusiasm to liberate the world kind of thing, that's exciting. That's the type of stuff where enthusiasm is allowed kind of thing. All right. So there is this sense of really getting in touch with our power centers. And that's with the Jupiter-Pluto aspect that's going on right now too. Getting in touch with our power, our internal power, with Mercury in aspect with Pluto. People are seeking truth. They're seeking the underlying, the undercurrent, they're really digging deep to really understand the root cause of certain things. They're digging deep to understand why people are motivated in certain ways, and they're being very, very creative with their solutions. They're being very creative with what they're bringing to the table. Like I said a couple weeks ago, Jupiter and Neptune have been in trine aspect for quite a while. They still are, and that's like huge amounts of creativity, huge amount of inspired ideas and inspired solutions. So idealism is good, I think, to help with the idea formulation so that when this transit occurs, then the changes can actually begin to take place. So I know that got really high level, but I think that we can't get so caught up in our own individual worlds because it's so ego driven. And the ego can be a really useful tool for a lot of us if we know how to use it right. It's kind of like that analogy that I've used multiple times of the hammer. You have a hammer and you can use it to build a house, or you can use it to bash someone's head in. It could be a weapon of war, or it can be a tool of great productivity. And that's kind of the essence of our ego and our duality there. How do we use our ego? Do we use it for emotional validation? Do we use it to assert ourselves and to build ourselves up? I just watched this weekend in Miami with a friend of mine, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Major Drum Instinct speech. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch it. It was controversial because during the Super Bowl, Dodge had used a part of that speech for one of their commercials, and people were all upset because of the nature of the speech was so completely against everything that Dodge was using it for. And when you listen to it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Dodge did that. Like, did they not listen to the context of the speech, kind of thing, you know? But that was a really, really wonderful speech, and it does speak to the ego. Let's go ahead and start with the cards. Let's see what comes out here. The Queen of Cups. The calm before the storm, right? I mean, she's so beautiful and so calming and so nurturing. And I think this is the energy that we really actually need right now. That the world needs a little bit of this more motherly kind of energy, because we are coming into a space that feels a little bit unsafe. There are a lot of risks on the line. There are a lot of investments on the line. There is a lot of faith in certain things. And when things get a little bit weird and things get a little uncertain and a little shaky, sometimes we do really need this more Cancerian quality. The womb, you know, and viewing the world as a nurturing place and not a hostile place. We ourselves on an individual scale are needing to harness our creativity. We are needing to harness those things that we truly and genuinely care about. You know, the way a mother, okay, Cancer, the moon mother, the way she cares for her child. You know, to care about our loved ones in that same unconditional way, to care about our health in that same unconditional way, to care about the health of our community and the safety of our communities in that unconditional way. The problem that we have, I think, in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, is everyone's kind of just out for themselves. And that's sort of that's what got us to this mess, you know, kind of thing. And that more unconditional loving quality is more of what the world needs. I don't know why I'm seeing this in such a huge way. I don't always see that. For those of you who are with me every week know that. But there must be a reason for it. Maybe I'm just paying more attention. I don't know. The Nine of Cups coming out now. Look, we have the power to have anything we want. And I've said that with this Uranus and Taurus transit. We have the power to manifest anything we want. It's going to be really, really important for us to manifest the things that truly make a difference and to manifest the things that truly matter. What really matters, you know, like I said, just health, happiness, education, knowledge, family, community. Those are the things that really matter. And for those people who are using this transit to produce material, like there's nothing wrong with material, right? Material is not evil. But I think that many of us would agree that material and money and things like that brings out a darker side of the world. And so for us to stand above, like I talked last week, stand up on the bridge, let the water go by, for us to kind of take that higher road and to really understand the place of the material versus the spiritual satisfaction, you know, what's really more important. When you start to look at your life as a single domino in a series of domino of lifetimes, really what's important, because you can't bring your material wealth with you. You can't bring your accomplishments with you. You can't bring your homes or anything. You know, it's all about what's up here and what's in here. That's the only thing that matters. That is the true wealth. And I would say that this man is very, very wealthy. You know, he's very wealthy. And the cups is important. And I remember during my Mars-Pluto transit video that I made a couple weeks ago, I talked about what do we care about? Because that says more about us than anything else. What do we care about? Do we care about adventure and, you know, hooking up with lots of people? Or do we care about caring about a lot of people? Do we care about service? Do we care about giving? You know, that kind of thing. That's what defines us. What we care about enough to spend our time and energy doing and learning and all of that. So we have the potential now, because not only did we have the Mars-Pluto transit a couple weeks ago, but now we have the Mercury-Pluto transit, which has been going on for the past several days. And that's giving us an opportunity once again to really come in contact with that deep soul purpose of Pluto. And it's a little bit easier this time. Mars is kind of a clumsy, harsh, kind of aggressive energy, but Mercury is a little bit more dainty. It's a little bit more finicky and picky, and it can be more clear. Instead of just like, oh, I'm having all this feeling. Well, now here Mercury comes and defines it for us. What is that new direction? What is that sense of purpose, that sense of caring? And how are we really contributing to our next lives, on a personal level and as a global level? Ironically, I just watched that movie for the first time, Cloud Atlas. I had been meaning to watch it for a really long time, and I never watched it. But it had some really good points. I wasn't such a big fan of the movie itself, but it definitely had some good points. To be very cognizant of our actions and what we do in this life, because the pendulum is always swinging, as we see with the Kabbalion. So we're getting the Knight of Coins. Slow and steady. I just don't really recommend making any major changes right now. I really, really don't. If you are dealing with, I feel like there's a connection in our lives somewhere. This is a Virgo Cancer cards, but it could be any Earth, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and any water, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, that is, really connecting on that feminine level, right? We have the hyper feminine Queen of Cups, and we have the feminine and masculine mixture. But even the knights are not fully developed yet, right? They're still learning, they're still progressing. And this person, I think, has a lot to learn from this person. The Queen of Cups is someone that is higher or more evolved, and it does have that more sense of security and that sense of purpose. And so I think that for many of you, this will be you, and you may have people kind of clinging on to you or connecting with you, reaching out to you, wanting to be a part of what it is you have going on, wanting to be a part of your own little movement, your own little revolution, right? They want to hitch their cart to your wagon, but not in a clingy, needy kind of way, but because they truly see you headed in the right direction. A Queen of Cups can be, she's a Queen of Cups, but has some power to her as well. She is one of the creators, right? The queens are the creators of life, the creators of change. And it is only through the power of the feminine that change can really occur. When we have the concept, and again, if you read the Kabbalion, you'll know what I'm talking about. We have the concept of the masculine, even on an atomic level. The masculine is the center, or the positively charged subatomic particles, and then the feminine are the electrons, right? And it is the electrons, or the negatively charged subatomic particles, that create the atom, right? Without the electrons, without the feminine energy, the atom could not exist, right? And so that's kind of the essence here that I'm feeling. There's the connection between the masculine and feminine, but yet the masculine here, as indicated with the Knight, is looking toward the feminine to create this new world kind of thing. Let's see what else comes out here. Okay, Page of Pentacles, Magician, and the Eight of Swords. Let's talk about the Eight of Swords first. I don't know if this is self-induced. Sometimes we feel trapped, sometimes we feel helpless, but that's mental, right? These swords, those are just mental things. Those are illusions. They're not real. They're things that we concoct in our own mind in order to make excuses to do or not to do something. It's an excuse to remain stagnant. But the fact of the matter is that from a spiritual perspective, you have a great deal of spiritual wealth, and it is time for you to begin utilizing that. And I think this Uranus transit is really going to urge a lot of us to begin using that energy for a great benefit, okay? You might not know, you might not see it, because that it's just a little bit too premature. Once the planets get comfortable in their new signs, Mars is well on its way into Aquarius and Uranus is a couple degrees into Taurus, then that's really when this stuff is going to really start to make more sense. And all the emotions and all of the ideas and all of this idealism that we're all experiencing right now, that is when that stuff is going to make sense. Did I say that correctly? I think I mixed that up. But later on, when the planets are comfortable, then all of the stuff we're experiencing now is going to make sense. There we go. Okay. And then we have the mercurial. We got the earth quality. Earth is coming online big time. Well, it's already online, actually, with all the Capricorn stuff. Page of Coins, you guys. Magician reversed. Oh, be so careful of what people are telling you. Just don't do anything. Just relax for a little while. You may be feeling a little bit powerless in many ways, and so when you are feeling powerless, you may want to look to the power of someone else. But right now, that's not a good idea. Especially when it's something financial, especially when it's something that could really affect your life, or put you in a kind of a worse off position. Just do you for right now. If you need to separate yourself from someone, then please do so. I do feel like people are just overexerting themselves. Okay, we got a whole bunch. Maybe a few too many, but we'll go ahead and take them all. First one that came out was the Queen of Pentacles reverse. See, now is not a time for manifesting the change, like right now, not like in a few weeks, right? But right now is not the time, because you're just not sure of what to really manifest. Right now, it's better for you to take on the more Queen of Cups energy, the more spiritual, the more nurturing quality, the more deeply connected with purpose, okay? Because the manifestation will occur once you've aligned yourself with that fully, okay? Because and I remember Queen of Coins came out last week reversed as well. So it's just not a good time to be doing anything risky. You are going to be taking a path not yet taken, right? You're going to be certainly feeling quite affected by the surroundings, by the environment. You're going to be feeling quite affected by some major changes that are about to occur. And whether that's a change in location for you, a change in career pathway, a change in friends, like circle of friends, or even something much, much bigger than that. It is about the alignment of your head and your heart and your gut, right? The masculine, the feminine, and the spiritual aspects there. Or I'm starting to lose my my trains of thought for some reason. Maybe I'm just now only repeating myself, and maybe I'm feeling a little bit like I just don't have anything additional or anything new to really say. Maybe I've said everything I need to say. But see, we've got the Ace of Wands. The Knights here, they're good. I think they're good. I think they're good people. But please be sure to recognize them for who they are, recognize them for where they are in the journey. I think it's okay to use that more Virgo. Here we have Virgo here, and I often see this as Virgo as well. We have that more Virgo quality of judgmentalism, right? But in a positive way of really judging and gauging where someone is compared to us. Because if you are more spiritually evolved, that becomes very, very clear when someone is seemingly, thinking very much inside of the box. And it's difficult to align yourself with those people who are not willing to awaken, who are not willing to come out of the box. And so I think that you are going to need to make some discerning decision about who you are willing to spend your time with right now, who is worth your time, who is going to be, making strides alongside of you. Like I said, like they may be trying to hitch their cart to your horse because they see something in you, but they might not quite recognize it yet. But that can be a little bit of a dangerous situation for you if you're not ready to love unconditionally, and you're not ready to have patience and to be calm, and to nurture and to mentor someone, kind of thing. And I know that might not apply to everybody. That could be a significant other thing, like maybe you guys have just evolved at different rates with your friends. You seem to be having a bigger mind and seeing the world in a bigger picture than your friends. And so you can still hang out with them, you can still see them. But at the end of the day, I think your satisfaction is going to deplete because you're lowering those vibrations to kind of keep it down on their level. And eventually you're not going to be able to keep it at that low level anymore. You're going to have to progress. Like you're having to push yourself. And as Mars comes in contact with the South Node in Aquarius over the next month or so, that's going to be a big question. Like, am I progressing? Am I moving forward? Am I accomplishing what I feel my purpose really is? Ace of Wands, there's no doubt in my mind that new doors are going to be opening for you. Just make sure that you are being discriminating, being discerning, and doing your due diligence, being very protective of who you are, being very protective of your pathway, and to not get distracted, to keep your focus. Keep that ego in check, right? The spiritual wealth is much more important than the material wealth at this point in time. And if you are putting material wealth, or it's hard. I feel like I know I am contradicting myself. Material wealth is, it can be spiritual, right? Your ability to manifest spiritual wealth your ability to manifest material wealth is a spiritual act. But if you can manifest material wealth, should you not also be manifesting spiritual wealth as well? And I'd say the answer to that question is yes, you should be. And that should be more your focus, okay? Four of Wands came out last week as well, telling me you guys are way more stable than you may think you are, but still, Hanged Man, things are just up in the air right now, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You have no control over what the environment is doing. You have no control over this transit that's happening. You have no control over the effects. The only thing you have control over is your response, okay, and your own vibration and the way that you react to it. Okay, now that was maybe a little bit too much, too many cards coming out. Hopefully it made sense. I do feel like I was rambling a little bit, but I hope that did give you guys some clarity. I wish you guys nothing but the best this week. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.